Hello, Leah Parsons, coming in from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and today's topic is fear. And I feel like it's a relevant topic right now as Nova Scotia is in our third lockdown regarding COVID. So I'm sensing and seeing posts, and even though we're in a lot of restrictions, of course, because we're in restrictions, we can see a lot of things in our news feeds, on social media, maybe on the TV, maybe on the radio. And it's a lot of fear going around. And in fear, what happens when we drop into fear? There's a lot of judgment happens. So whether people are following all the protocols, people watching and looking for any places where you can shame and blame, point fingers at others, whether they're for vaccinations, against vaccinations, everyone wanting their life to go back to whatever normal is for them. And there's so much fear induced. And when we're in fear, that's an energy. Fear is an energy. You can feel it, right? When you start going into fear, worry, anxiety, you can feel that in your body. So when we're in a place of fear, in our energy body, we're emitting that fear outward with our mind and our thoughts, our projections. We kind of put that out into the world, into our interactions. So what is inside of us is what we project out into the world. So you can see it in if somebody makes any type of comment or questions about maybe about what's going on in their communities, what's allowed, what's not allowed. If you go to the comments section, you'll see a lot of fear of people pointing fingers and calling each other names, and it's all coming from that place. But if you drop into the place of love and wondering where that person's coming from, maybe it's not so black and white. Maybe somebody else's perspective has some validity to it too. And maybe kind of dropping into a place of love and compassion for yourself first. And when you find love and compassion for yourself in your fearful thoughts, that extends out into the world, because again, it's projection. We're always projecting who we are in the inside. We're projecting our thoughts and our beliefs out into the world. And it has nothing to do with this is a reality check or this is what's actually happening, because all we can do from our homes or wherever we are is take care of ourselves and send some love and kindness to others. If you can help somebody out, that's wonderful, but sending a bunch of fear out into the world is not really helpful. Love is a beautiful vibration, but in our fear state, whether it's because of COVID or whether we fear we're not going to feel better, maybe we're depressed, maybe we have anxiety, worrying about this and that, and of course none of that is going to change the situation outside of ourselves. However, we always have to tend to those emotions. So it's never about, oh, I shouldn't feel so negative. I shouldn't be negative about this situation. It's always about, if I'm feeling fearful, what is that fear about? Like, what is the worst case scenario here? Let's write that down. Let's reflect on the worst case scenario, because it hasn't happened yet. We have no idea what's even going to happen tomorrow, let alone next week, next year. So all we can do is kind of tap into where we are right now. And do we want to spiral in the thoughts around the fear, or do we want to stay present for the fear? But watch where the mind wants to take us, because the mind wants to take you to really scary places, imaginary places that that didn't even happen, or maybe something horrible happened in the past and you're fearful it's going to happen again. We have to remind ourselves, whatever that experience was of the past was in the past. It's not happening right now. We might still feel bound up in our body, in our energy, physically, and in our mind because of past experiences, or we might be worrying about the future. So one is reflection of the past and kind of ruminating on things that went wrong. And there's all kinds of stories you have around that. So I would question the stories and what your mind is telling you about your past. And then, of course, rumination of the past or fearing the future is that's anxiety, fearing the future. Ruminating of the past is kind of like taking you to a lower states of depression and kind of sadness, maybe some remorse, some regret, some despair. But the only moment we truly have is right now. So I always like to, my mind wants to ruminate on things and go over things, and kind of your ego gets in there and wants you to be careful, be safe, don't trust, don't do this, don't do that, because you remember when that happened, and to come back to, okay, so what's really happening here is I'm safe, I'm sitting on my chair, I'm in my office, I'm in my home, I can connect to my breath, and this is the moment in front of me, this is the moment I have. So let's ease into that and find the essence. Ease into that and find your own presence, sitting in the seat of your own soul. Because nothing else is real. So I would suggest, if you get kind of revved up over reading people's posts, or if you get revved up and you are the one judging harshly about somebody without giving them any chance to kind of unravel where their thoughts are coming from, if you don't want to engage in the conversation, but you want to engage in the judgment, I would suggest that you look at how you're judging yourself so harshly also. Because when we stop judging ourselves so harshly about whatever it is, we tend to stop judging the people around us as harshly. And if you find yourself in judgment, because we all do, it's a human trait and it's very common, we all do it. When you find yourself in judgment, maybe stop and ask yourself, what's that about? What is that? Do I want to feel better than that person? Do I want to feel like I'm justified, or I have some sort of superiority or authority? Or so we have to stop and ask ourselves those questions, right? Because energy, it's all emotions are energy. So I would suggest to maybe turn away from the things that trigger you, that allow your system, everybody's system, their nervous system is so tight right now. It's so quick to just fire up because they're already sitting on the edge. But maybe turn off the things that trigger you. Walk away from the people who are saying things that kind of make you revved up and you feel the need to start judging. And sit with yourself and do things. What nurtures my soul? What nurtures me? What do I need to do right now? Do I really need to reach for that drink or the food or the binge watching? Or do I just need to sit with myself right now? Do I need to go walk in nature, read a book, have a bath, eat something healthy that nourishes the body? Because when we reach for the crappy stuff, it actually suppresses our immune system. Our system that's there to fight off the things that come into it, viruses and bacteria and all those things. Can I nourish myself with something? Can I move my body? And I think there should be a lot of more information out there about how do we keep our immune system strong and supportive? How do we keep ourselves in our mind in a healthy, grounded place? It doesn't mean we don't go off course. It doesn't mean we don't get triggered. It means I'm getting triggered. How fast can I come back? Can I come back in a day or two instead of going down a spiral of weeks and weeks? But only you know what's going to soothe your soul. And only you know the things that make you feel better that you're avoiding, that you tend to push away and do the negative things. And you have to make a commitment to yourself that you're going to show up in some small way each day, in a way that nourishes you. We all have kind of self-defeating, self-negating patterns and thoughts, and until we take a really radical look and be completely honest with ourselves first, we're not going to step out of that. So we do have to take some honest approaches and asking, why, what am I getting from staying stuck in this place? What does it feed in me? And what does it take away from me? So these are all the curiosity questions that I love to work with myself and people that I work with one-on-one and in my programs. So these are the questions. When you're looking outward and you're blaming and you're projecting everything outward, sometimes we got to take those questions and start asking it inside and sit in stillness and then see what comes up for you. But then, this part's really important. Then, meet yourself, those thoughts that you don't like, that you hide from everybody else. Meet those with kindness and compassion for you. For yourself for being so harsh and so judgmental. You got to meet ourselves with that kind of compassion instead of pointing out what everybody else is doing wrong in the world. And saying, how can I be better today? How can I soothe myself today? What one step can I do? Maybe it's just sitting and breathing for a few moments. Maybe it's just noticing what's going on up there. Maybe you're not even aware of that. Most of us are not, especially when we get into a spiral. We get caught up in that thought of that person, that thing, doing that wrong thing to us, and it just goes round and round and round. So that is my topic today, and that's what I want to share with you. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, share this video out to other people who you might feel might benefit from it, and I'll be in weekly with these YouTube snippets on this channel, and I hope to inspire you, to ignite something in you, to get something going where you want to actually take more agency over yourself and your life, to grow and evolve no matter where you are in the path. We all are growing and evolving. So just staying on that path of growth instead of becoming stagnant in our mind. And there's always time for process, there's always time for stillness, but we're still, even in stillness, we're moving towards something. So when we get caught up in these spirals of pain, sometimes it's hard to get out of it. So I want you to know that every single one of you have it within you, your own inner guidance system that's waiting for you to connect. And when you tap into that, you'll always know the next right move because you have your own inner compass, your own GPS system that's going to guide and support you on your one beautiful life, because there's not going to be anyone else here that's like you. There's only one you. So you have to show up in our life big and bright. Okay, have a great week. I'll see you next week.